Hello lovely people, guess what the millennials' latest obsession is? Plants, lots and lots of them. And today I'm going to show you how you can join the plant revolution, because if there is one trend you should be following, it's definitely this one. If you're not convinced, then I definitely recommend that you check out the article I wrote for the Ethical Resistance called 11 Reasons Why You Should Have Plants in Your Home, and then come back to this video. It doesn't matter that they call you the plant destroyer or that plants seem to wither under the very touch of your fingers, because believe me, I used to be that person. And with a few handy tricks, you can actually be on your way towards becoming a happy plant mama or plant papa. I think the first thing to know is what type of plant you should buy, because obviously if you're a beginner, you do not want to get some very high maintenance plants at the very beginning at least. Some very good plants to get in that case will be something like the spider plant right here, who's doing very well, and they're literally zero maintenance plants, or like this one, Devil's Ivy it's called. They don't require much watering, so if you do forget to water them once in a while, they won't shrivel and die on you. And they also don't require a lot of light, so you don't have to follow the meanderings of the sun to find the best place to put your plant, which is literally what I do with some of my plants. British Ivy and Mother-in-Law's Tongue are some really good plants to get as well that are low maintenance, and they are also air purifying, meaning that they will clean the air from things like formaldehyde and benzenes. If you want to find out more about that kind of stuff, definitely check out the article I wrote. Now, some of us might be bent on getting plants based on how visually pleasing they are, aka how Instagrammable they are, instead of how easy they are to maintain. For example, this plant here. You might recognise it from many Instagram posts. So if, like me, you buy plants based on how intriguing you find the leaves or how pretty you think they look, you need to make sure you know what the requirements for each plant is, because different plants have different requirements. If you buy them online or from a dedicated plant shop, they usually come with instructions with them, so make sure you follow those. If you bought a plant from somewhere really random and you don't even know the name of it, then a good thing to do is to use an app called Plant Snap. And as the name suggests, it basically, you take a picture of your plant and you upload it on the app, and the app compares it with its own database and it finds out what plant that is. So obviously that's a guess, but usually it's pretty accurate at guessing what plant you have. And once you have a name, you can go Google it and find out what that plant needs in order to thrive and flourish. For example, this beauty here was bought in Lidl, and it didn't have a name tag, I didn't know what it was, and I started researching into it, finding ways of knowing what the name of it was. That's when I found out about Plant Snap. And this is how I learned that this is a dumb-cane. You dumb-cane. If you have a lot of plants, then you can also get those little signs that you can write how many times does it need watering, how much sunlight does it need, how many times does it need to be fed, that kind of thing. But honestly, if you can remember it or put together a little spreadsheet on your computer so you don't have to buy those silly things, then just do that instead. Some plants are extremely finicky. If their environmental conditions are even slightly off, they start feeling very stressed and unhappy, and the last thing you want is a dying plant on your hand. For example, this one is actually an exotic plant, so it requires a lot of regular watering, but not over-watering, and a lot of humidity. And how do you replicate humidity in dry bone England? Well, you can actually buy a humidifier, or even pop it in the shower every time you're having a shower, or somebody else is having a shower.
You know what I mean? Jesus Christ.
So one big mistake that people do when buying plants is that they assume the plant, that the pot that the plant comes with, is going to be the home of that plant forever. That's what I used to think. So I'd keep asking myself, why is my plant not growing? But then at the same time, I was suppressing its growth by leaving it in this tiny little pot. You see, usually brands will give you the plant in a pot that barely fits the requirements of the plant in order to save money. And very often, the soil that comes with the plant is not very nutrient dense. And even if it is, with time that soil will deplete in nutrients, leaving your plant to feel very poorly. So I do recommend that within 4 to 5 weeks of you receiving your plant, you do repot them. And when you do so, make sure you use a high quality potting mix. I personally like to make my own potting mix because it's the best way of ensuring that your soil is nutrient dense and well aerated. Okay, so I have some sheets down here. I'm using this bowl as my measuring cup. So it's 1 part compost, 1 part cocoa coir, and 1.5 parts of perlite. I'm going to carry it into that.
It's way down the moment.
So I'm doing the potting soil, and this is basically 1.5. I need 1.5 parts of perlite. What's already in here is 1 part of compost and 1 part of cocoa coir. So
What is perlite?
it's like a volcano. There's so much dust and ash. Okay, so that's 1 part. Now I need to add another half.
Oops.
Oh wow, that stuff is dusty.
Yeah. Looks pretty dusty. Oh, it smells like
Volcano?
it's kind of a chemically smell to it.
Really?
It could just be my nose. Yeah.
Then you need to mix your potting mix together. And that's what's going to make your plant very happy. I think people underestimate how important the soil is. They'll water the plant, they'll feed the plant, they'll put it in the light, and it will still die because the soil is just not good enough. So that's one thing you need to really focus on when you're a plant mama. Just like humans, plants are prone to diseases. So if you want a happy plant, you need to make sure that it's healthy. So instead of putting insecticides on your plants or chemicals, there are actually some really nice natural way of treating your plants. I personally like using a solution made of hydrogen peroxide, and I use a lot of water and a few drops of hydrogen peroxide. And another solution I tend to make is a teaspoon of neem oil in a large spray bottle of water with a tiny bit of dishwasher soap. You can also give your plant a really nice boost by giving it some food. And one that I use, well, it's the only one I use, it's this one. It's a little bit expensive, but I only use a few tablespoons every month or so, just when I feel like they need a bit of perking up. It's organic and it's got the word probiotic in it, which can only be a good thing. Here you go, you're now ready to make your home all cozy and nice with some lovely plants. Let me know how it goes down below, and if you have any questions, I will try my very best to answer them. Bye!